Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Ipsos Public Affairs, a social research corporation, put out a global research project trying to find out what Trump's America-First message, if it resonated with a global audience. They wanted to find out the global resonance of anti-immigrant rhetoric. And maybe they were surprised to find out that in a global context, a strong plurality of global citizens believe that immigrants do take jobs away from their countrymen. And additionally, a near majority of global citizens understand that immigrants also take away social services. So you can look at the graph there and you can see it's just totally racist. These are just all racist countries. No, this is people around the globe who understand that when you bring people in who are going to vie for the same jobs at a much lower pay scale, are going to compete with jobs as well as social services. It's just facts and science. But that's not all. In recent weeks, Trump has also been mocked by critics for saying that China is killing us economically. But a new analysis of U.S.-China trade shows that the trade gap isn't just at a historic high, but in fact, the imbalance is the widest for any bilateral trade ever. So this is according to the website howmuch.net. The U.S. exported $116 billion to China in 2015, and the same year, China exported $481 billion to the United States. So that's a $365 billion gap. You can see that little image there. So they also found that this gap is growing so fast that it will almost quintuple over the next 15 years. So something else Trump likes to bring up is that a lot of the issues we're having with our jobs and our economy here in the U.S. is because of the disastrous trade deal NAFTA.
In early March 2016, the Spanish company Sintra Zachary, who partnered with TxDOT to build the controversial TCC, or Trans-Texas Corridor, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Many of the highway's critics celebrated the news of the toll road company's failure. But this is just a single battle won in a much larger war. This battle, which Infowars covered extensively in the past, is over the construction and completion of a NAFTA superhighway, or corridor.
Building on the massive displacement of humanity caused by globalization, the New World Order is rapidly constructing the physical infrastructure of the North American Union, the NAFTA Superhighway Control Grid.
The TCC was the first leg to be completed of this new transportation system that would physically unite Canada, the United States, and Mexico into one borderless trade zone.
The proposed Trans-Texas Corridor would be a patchwork of superhighways and railroads, stretching 4,000 miles from the border of Mexico, cutting through Texas to Oklahoma.
As we covered in our film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, the plan for a North American superhighway included a high-speed rail system that would transport cargo from Mexico non-stop to an inland small port in Kansas City, Missouri. Economic trade deals and supranational committees, such as the Security and Prosperity Partnership of North America, signed in secret in 2005, have paved the way for massive multinational corporate projects. But what happened to this scheme? Now, with Sintra filing for bankruptcy, it would seem that this larger-than-life plan simply fizzled out. However, this is not the case. In 2011, the highly criticized TTC plan was shot down by the Texas legislature when they passed HB 1201. But HB 1201 had many amendments attached that would keep the Spanish-owned Sintra satisfied. Just days after HB 1201 passed, which killed the TCC on the surface, Texas State Representative Larry Phillips introduced HB 3789, which brought the corridor back to life with a vengeance. Sintra's original deal with TxDOT was considered a PPP, or public-private partnership, essentially a sweetheart deal, giving an offshore privately owned company the same powers of the state, such as the power to change the state speed limit. HB 3789 strengthened these private-public partnerships, giving more power to offshore monopolies by giving them the authority to sign deals with the state of Texas in secret. I-35, the central artery of the Texas interstate system, is considered part of the NAFTA superhighway. And the Kansas City Inland Port, which is part of the TCC, is now up and running. Other NAFTA super corridors, whose construction began around the same time as the TCC, have also never ceased. One plan in particular, the Canamex corridor, runs along the west coast of North America. According to Canamex.org, the Canamex Corridor Project is a broad-reaching plan whose key objective is to create a direct trade route from Canada to Mexico. This initiative is being supported for its development and implementation by the U.S. states en route for this plan: Montana, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona. The website continues to describe some of the longer-term plans for the trade corridor. The Canamex Corridor was also specified by NAFTA to include a railroad system to match the advances in highway construction and vehicles with advanced rail systems. These are intended to take the form of larger, longer, and more efficient trains, making the maximum use of technologies such as double-decker cars and multiple engines that can pull immensely long trains. The Canamex Corridor is currently being managed by several companies, and like a connect-the-dots puzzle, is slowly linking smaller highway systems to form a larger trade route that will run from the southern border in Mexico all the way to the northern one in Canada. In March 2015, U.S. Senators John McCain and Jeff Flake added corridor extensions to the Intermountain West Corridor Act of 2015. According to the Phoenix Business Journal, this federal act was also extended to the I-11 corridor north from Las Vegas to Reno and northward to Canada. So, plans for North American trade corridors, governed by secret committees and international trade agreements like the SPP, and now the TPP, are moving forward. The Kansas City Inland Smart Port is open for business, and it does not seem like the Centra bankruptcy did much, if any, to damage their long-term goals. Rob Dew reporting for Infowars.com and Infowars Nightly News.
Well, one of the things we talk about a lot here at Infowars is what happens when someone has just too much power and there's no one checking that power. Well, we're not talking about politics. That's actually the theme of the Batman versus Superman movie. Now, of course, we could, equate that with the present presidential election, but this movie has a major political storyline, and it involves Senate hearings questioning Superman's actions. And one of the senators actually utters Thomas Jefferson's words, "Absolute power corrupts absolutely." And Ben Affleck says the movie is more about what happens when we become afraid of one another. So here to give us a little bit of historical accuracy is our resident comic book geek, Jakari Jackson.
The movie Batman v Superman is set for its U.S. release in just a few hours from now, and some of the film stars are chiming in saying the themes that are within it. Actress Holly Hunter said that her role in the film is to explain what happens when absolute power corrupts absolutely. And also Ben Affleck, who portrays Batman in the film, says that he doesn't view it as being overtly political, but says that it does point out what could go wrong when people don't trust one another. Now, I've yet to see the film. I plan to do so in a couple hours from now. So this isn't going to be so much of a spoiler-filled analysis, but I will point out some of the things that are in the book, The Dark Knight Returns, which the movie is heavily based on. Basically, Superman becomes a tool of the government, and the government uses him to shut down other superheroes, giving the state a legitimate monopoly of force. Batman eventually has to take Superman down, and that's pretty much what you guys see in the movie trailers. Now, I don't know Frank Miller's exact thoughts on the book, Frank Miller being the author of the book, but I think what he is trying to say is that you can't have the government having a monopoly of force, and if it does get to that point, you can't have normal, common people rise together and defeat a tyrannical government. But you have to do so responsibly. Now, there is a scene within the book where the Sons of Batman, a vigilante group inspired by Batman, go out into the streets seeking justice, but Batman has to stop them and say, hey, if you're going to do this, you have to do this a proper way. So yes, people can come together and fight against the tyranny of the time, but you have to do so in a responsible way. Stay tuned for more reports here on Infowars.com.
Please take a moment to listen to what I'm about to break down very, very carefully, because the information I'm about to lay out in just 2 minutes changed my life and changed the life of many, many people around me. I was a big sports enthusiast, but loved to eat like a pig when I was 10 years old up to about 22 or so. And I ran 6 miles every other day and lifted weights almost every day and had a great physique. Then I got into radio and television 21 years ago and got so busy in my work, I stopped working out. And everything was okay for 4 or 5 years, but then suddenly I started putting on pounds every month. And in the next 10 years, I gained almost 100 pounds.
Then about 7 years ago, I began jogging, swimming long distances, and lifting weights again, trying to lose weight, and was only able to lose about 20 of the 98 pounds. I even changed my diet. I even increased the exercise. It didn't work. But as soon as I began to get the nutrients and compounds that I needed, my whole life changed. I've gone from 200 and almost 80 pounds down to about 220 pounds or so. It is incredible. And in just the last 3 years, Super Male Vitality, developed by Dr. Group for InfoWarsLife.com exclusively, and products like the Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine have just done incredible things for my body. I work out less. Even though I'm older, I've lost more weight. My muscles got stronger, my stamina, my libido, and so much more. The truth is, we went out to bring you the very best we could, true game-changing products. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today and secure your Super Male or Female Vitality and X2 True Nascent Iodine today, and hopefully start your journey towards living a more natural, focused, clean life. There's a lot of other excellent nutraceuticals we've developed, and also third-party ones that we sell at InfoWarsLife.com that are excellent. But the two game changers that I believe if you order them are most likely to really give you the biggest bang for your buck are Super Male Vitality and Female Vitality, and of course, X2 Nascent Iodine. Take the challenge, visit InfoWarsLife.com today, and secure your nutraceuticals. At the same time, know that you're funding the fight for freedom worldwide. Thank you for your support.